cannot hear the video, by the way.
Yes, we cannot hear.
Our commitment to the nature and natural stone.
We cannot hear the video. Videonun sesi gelmiyor.
Brings together world so as to tell the value of variety of natural stone. With a common, the use of natural stone in any field of life, starting with architecture and to promote it is our task. Those who are putting a lot of work, meeting on the 26th of August 2021. Konuşmacıyı duyamıyorum. Konuşmacının sesi tercümeye gelmiyor. I would like to welcome all the speakers. The webinar will be held in 3 sections. The first session, there are 3 speakers. The second session will start at 5 with Turkish time, and the third session will be held tomorrow. And the program of the summit has been shared. I would like to thank you all for your participation and your contribution. There are speakers from 7 countries, it'll be 8 countries together with the host country, Turkey. As mentioned in the video, on August 26th in Izmir, there is the Marble Izmir exhibition. There will be a convention held on August 26th, the International Stone Summit. So within this scope, World Stone Summit member countries, over 25 countries, will be gathering in these summits and will hold a joint workshop together. And here, the sectoral developments will be discussed with stakeholders, all the challenges that they're facing, and how we can formulate common solutions to these challenges that we are facing, not just one country, but representatives of all the sectors from across the world in the stone sector. So we would like to see all the stakeholders in this exhibition. So I am inviting you all to participate in this exhibition. Now I'm giving the floor to Balvinder Singh. Welcome, Mr. Balvinder. You can start your presentation and your speech. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Farooq, for giving me the floor. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all the audience from whichever part of the world you are joining in. Thanks, and we are happy to connect with you digitally due to this COVID precautionary new world, and I am happy to connect with all the audience. I'll request my colleague Girish Gupta to please start the presentation. Our subject is exhibition calendar for natural stone industry. So I shall be making a small short presentation, and through that I will explain to you what are the thought process we have and what are my experience of last 20 years of conducting exhibition in the stone sector in particular. So next, please. So this is the presentation, exhibition calendar for natural stone industry. So why the calendar is needed? See, a visitor can plan its schedule according to the in advance. So any visitor traveling from across the globe, they need to plan their schedule. So once they know the calendar, they can plan their visit to various parts of the world. It also helps the companies to accordingly plan out their budgets for the choice of the events. Depending upon the customer they receive, the exhibitors can also plan the kind of budgets they have, to exhibit their products. It works as a guide for the other organizers to plan their events without overlap. We have seen in the past there are overlap in one exhibition, either between Izmir or Brazil, or Shaman Stone Fair with some fair in Brazil, or some European exhibitions clashing with each other. Even in Middle East, some exhibitions clashing with each other. So that in case that can be avoided, in case organizers are fully aware. It also helps the freight forwarding agencies, the vendors, those who support us to do a better job of the thing. Next slide, please, Girish. So this is the current state of exhibitions. As we are all aware, that most of the exhibitions planned for the year 2020-21 have been postponed. Because of the pandemic, none of the events could be virtually held. Most of the events were done on the virtual platform. But after the vaccination has started, few exhibitions are likely to open up physically or in the hybrid model in the coming year. So, the fresh dates for the most of the postponed exhibitions have been announced, which are in 21-22 calendar year. Girish, next slide, please. So the exhibition calendar for 21-22 was regularly changing because of the shifting of dates, most of the events globally. But from June 21 onwards, we are seeing that most of the countries have announced their shows, and which is a very good sign for the exhibition industry and stone industry both. So, through the next slide, I'm presenting you the brief calendar of the exhibitions which are going to be organized in the stone sector across the globe. So, starting from Vegas, there was a small exhibition, TIES 21. It was held. The Moscow Stone Show was held from June 29 to 2nd July. Coverings, we are aware. It was a phygital event, hybrid event, physically in Orlando and also connected through the world by the virtual platform. So we also have the Brazil event, which is scheduled in August 24 to 27th. It is all clear. Marble 21, Ishwa's very established event in Izmir, for which we all attend every year, is now scheduled for August. And this conference is also linked with Marble. So we happily have been attending, and we will also be happy to attend based on the COVID protocols and opening of the flights. And the Middle East Stone Show is scheduled in Dubai, September 12 to 15th. Marmomac, Verona, where we all again meet, like Izmir, is scheduled for September 29th to October 2nd, 2021. And the Bursa Marble Fair in Turkey is also in October is scheduled. And the Marble Tech Istanbul CNR exhibition is scheduled in October. Jakarta Stone Fair in Indonesia in November first week. And the Stone 2021 in Poland in November end. And our flagship event of India Stone Mart 2022 is scheduled in Jaipur from February 17th to 20th. And you are most welcome to join this exhibition. Requesting, Girish to move to next slide. The position of current calendar, it looks from the above calendar that most of the organizers have announced their dates without considering the time factor and the gap in between the two fairs, which I had presented in my previous slide also. So most of the exhibitions are placed very closely, which may affect the number of buyers and exhibitors. So we have to be careful in that. So overlapping in dates should be avoided. We all, as the group of people, organizers, we should try to avoid the overlapping. Organizing more than one fair in any country in a financial year also impacts the number of exhibitors as well as the buyers. So we have seen a lot of now exhibitions happening in Turkey, China, and in Europe. That affects the calendar. So we suggest there should be, either one or maximum two exhibitions in a country, not more than that, in one calendar year or financial year. So next slide, please. So exhibition scenario in India, I'll give you. there are two major exhibitions in India which happen. One year is Stone Mart, India Stone Mart, and another is year India Stone Mart is in Jaipur, and Stona is held in Bangalore. We are all aware, and we never clash with each other. It is 1 year is India Stone Mart, another year is Stona. So since the pandemic, India Stone Mart has moved to 2022, and the Stona will be held in 2023. So due to COVID, this thing, we have changed our dates accordingly. So Stona, I've already said it will be held in 2023. Next slide, please. I'm sharing some slides of past Stone Mart in 2019 when we had a huge exhibition. Grish, next please. Yeah, this was the indoor space where we had country pavilions from Turkey, China, Italy, Egypt. All the countries had participated and got the benefit of B2B and platform. And this is the outdoor space where the exhibition was organized, including the Shilpgram. Next, please. So coming to the suggestion I've already given. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, suggestions for the ideal calendar. Now coming to this, one fair in one country should be a way forward in the current situation. It will give enough time for participating companies and buyers to participate, visit other fairs comfortably. Overlapping of the dates should be avoided. We also need to do hybrid virtual come physical shows in the current pandemic situation till the time most of the world is vaccinated. So these are slides from my side, and I would like to say thank you. This is end of my presentation and speech. If there are any questions after the panel discussions, I will be happy to take it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Sunumunuz için çok teşekkür ediyorum. If you have anything to
Are there any
add,
questions? Are there any questions for Mr. Bolwander? I guess we do not have any questions. Thank you so much, sir.
There are 104 fairs where stones are exhibited. For 2021, there are around 10 fairs. You have given a list of 10 fairs for 2021. When we get together in August 26, do you actually expect a coordination between these different fairs being held across the world?
Yes, I think when we meet in Izmir in August, we should, try and educate all the exhibition organizers to post-pandemic in the new world. We need to squeeze number of exhibitions. As I've already said, one country, one exhibition, 1 year should be enough. Only if the country is too large, on the size of, say, China or Russia, the countries which are very, very, spread, there could be 2 exhibitions, but largely there should be 1 exhibition in one country so that every year people can visit, plan easily. So we can have maximum 7 to 8 exhibitions in 1 year, not more than that. So I will be happy to do this debate and discussion with my colleagues in when we meet in Izmir physically. Thank you. Over from my side.
I thank you for your presentation. Mr. Halajian, do you have any comments or any contribution you'd like to make on this topic?
Hello, thank you very much. I prefer to talk after my speech. I will explain about what Mr. Singh mentioned about the topic.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Halajian.
You're welcome.
Mr. Singh has said in Italy, in Carrara and Verona fairs, Italy was not able to shoulder, and Carrara actually lost its former importance. So one fair per country, I totally agree with Balvinder Singh's suggestion for one fair per country per year.
Yes, one country, one exhibition per year. That is the right way.
But I think it depends on the situation of each country, Mr. Singh. Some countries, as you mentioned, are so big and huge in the industry and with the different topic of the fair. And also some of them are international, some of them local. Regarding that, it depends on the purpose and the target of the fair, I think. But at the end, I think in one country, one fair can be more successful than the others. Also regarding this situation that we are now inside.
Thank you, Mohammed Alajan, for your contributions. As we see, countries participating in World Stone Summit will actually, there will be a more heated debate about this issue. So this is the second time we're meeting on the way to, and Mohammed Alajan also participated in the preceding meeting. So we are attaching great importance in this regard to the fair or exhibition on August 26th in Izmir. If there aren't any further questions, let's see if there's any questions coming from the YouTube channel. Now I am proceeding to the second. If there aren't any more contributions from Mr. Balvinder, we will proceed with Mr. İbrahim Alimoğlu and his speech.
Yes, please go ahead. All the best.
Benim ekleyeceğim başka bir şey yok. Mr. Alimoğlu, dear representatives of the marble industry and dear guests participating from abroad, each of us is still struggling with this terrible pandemic. At the same time, we are striving for increasing production and sales. So I would like to, may God have mercy on those who lost their lives, and I wish those suffering patients to get well soon. To repeat what is known, our industry is severely affected by the pandemic. There were enterprises that shut down, our capacities has narrowed, and there was a shrinkage. So as a sector that exports 20%, so it was really difficult for us to avoid the negative effects. So we had problems in ports regarding containers. There was problems with container supplies, although companies are reserving when we are going to load our cargo, we were not able to find containers and the shipments were canceled, and freight prices and costs have significantly increased. And when the day comes, because there were no containers found, shipments have been canceled, and there were damages in block marbles in containers, and our shipments have been kept waiting in warehouses. And China, because it was the largest buyer, this is where the pandemic has started. So this, because the pandemic has spread to other markets, it has almost stopped our exports. And orders were either canceled or they were postponed. And this situation, because there were orders, this did not actually reflect in the figures for 2020. But when we came to May, we actually have seen the consequences or the impact of the pandemic on the figures. When we compare the May export, there was a 63% and 41% in processed marble. There was a decline. After 2021 June, there was some increase in processed marble, but the block orders were on decline. We have closed the year with 1.7 billion USD, and there was a 22% decline in block, but there was a 7% increase in processed marble exports. In the first 5 months of 2021, there was, compared to 2019, there was an increase in the processed natural stone, and also there is, compared to the first 5 months of 2021, we have increased our exports both in block and processed. So in order to overcome the challenges, we have done everything within our capacity, and we are continuing to do exerting efforts. And despite all the container problems, we are working. I am congratulating our sector, which managed to increase exports despite the negative impact. And we are taking precautions in the normalization process that we are in. We are between 25 August and 28, the Marble Fair will be opening its door for the 26th time. And Marble Izmir, which is one of the top 3 marble fairs around the world, we are honored. It's a very prestigious environment. Both as Turmet and as country, we will be participating in this fair in our pavilion. At the same time, the World Stone Summit, which will be held on the sidelines of this marble fair, I think it will also be successful and beneficial. Despite all these setbacks, although we are in a recovery process in our marble production facilities, there are certain problems with getting licenses and permissions. And we have been talking to the ministry and also the labor unions to overcome this problem about license. As Tünmer, we are voicing all the problems that we are facing in our sector. Hopefully, all these certain solutions will be formulated about these problems that we are facing, and we will continue our activities without problems. As a sector, I would like to once again voice our expectations. Licenses that are required has to be predictable, and it should be reasonable. And license should not be turned down without reasons that are not foreseen in the legislation. After a license is issued, any restrictions that can be imposed by other institutions, there should be articles that secures the license in the legislation. In the mining sector, in order to increase the taxes, instead of introducing additional taxes, there should be some incentives to increase employment, and the licensing period should be reasonable, and the period should be reduced. This will actually further increase and strengthen our sector. Hopefully, all the exhibitions to be held will be beneficial to all the sector, and I greet you all.
So, Mr. Faruk Hoca, do we have any questions for Mr. Alimoğlu? Shall we take the proceeding guest, please? Faruk Hoca, shall we proceed with Mr. Muhammad?
Yes, there's no problem. We can talk.
I'm really sorry. From time to time, I have a problem with the internet, says Mr. Faruk Çalapkulu. I'd like to thank Mr. Alimoğlu, both Mr. Singh and Mr. Alimoğlu. Mr. Alimoğlu talked about the general problems of the natural stone sector in Turkey. Mr. Singh, in 2020, there was a decrease in export of India. It was almost zero. But in the first 6 months of 2021, we saw a great increase over around 161, I think, %. What would you say about this improvement in India, Mr. Singh?
This was, due to the first wave of COVID, when there was a lockdown in the entire country. And, since it was a pandemic coming for the first time, we faced some logistical issues, and the ongoing projects were stopped. The construction sites were stopped. And immediately when the ban was lifted, and after a couple of months, all the, marble started coming in from various parts of the world. So this was primarily due to pandemic and nothing else, and the lockdown. It was a lockdown which took some time, and in the phased manner we opened up the Indian economy, and and that is how you saw the increase after that in demand of the marble and granite. That's it from my side.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Singh, in U.S. exports, there is an increase in your U.S. exports, and we're happy about it. The Indian market is now exporting more to the U.S., and there are very important developments in the natural stone market in India. I would like to congratulate you and your colleagues in India.
Thank you. I really appreciate. Thanks. India is, one of the largest hub for marble granite, and we export and import both. from India. A lot of material goes overseas, and a lot of material from various parts of the world come to India. That is what the open policy is, and India will continue to do well in economic growth, and would be happy to work with all the leaders in stone industry to further push exports and imports both. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Alimoğlu, our second speaker? Any questions for Mr. Ibrahim Alimoğlu?
Not
Okay.
from me.
Okay, so I would like to give the floor to Mr. Mohammed Halajan, my dear friend. You invited me to Iran. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Due to the pandemic, last year I wasn't able to visit. I had replied to you, but I do hope that after we overcome the problem of pandemic, in the coming months, in the coming year, I hope to meet you in Iran and see the developments in Iran. And we can talk about the situation in Iran after listening to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The floor is yours, Mr. Halajan.
Thank you very much. Hello to all attendants. I'm Mohammed Halajan from Iran. I'm the organizer of Iran Stone Expo, the biggest stone show in Iran that every year we held on October. Also, this year we have the exhibition in 12 to 15 October. First of all, I want to thank İSPAŞ and Mabel İzmir Fair. I appreciate for preparing this World Stone Summit. I think this is the third year that Mabel İzmir Fair prepare all the countries about stone sector together. And this is, I think, the third meeting that we all together sit and talking about the stone industry in the world. I appreciate for this cooperating, and I want to explain about our fair. First of all, that Iran Stone Expo previous edition, more than 500 participants from all over our country were hosted by us on approximately 20,000 square meter net area, but was our area that participant exhibit in the fair, on which we placed more than 17,000 tons of stone blocks from 200 quarries. As you know, we are a huge country, and we have many potential on the stone sector. Let's briefly explain about Iran stone industry. As all you know, Iran has got fourth rank in the minor and the first rank in variety of natural stone in the world. So we have very good potential on the stone industry. Besides, Iran has more than 6,000 stone cutting factories and 2,000 quarries on natural stone. All these quarries that discovered till now, only 7% from the total our mineral resources has discovered till now, and there is still big opportunity on stone industry and stone sector to make investment in Iran, because we have a very good potential on this sector. We have the first rank about the variety of stone in the world. We have lots of quarries in all categories like travertine, marble, granite, limestone, onyx. Very special country on the stone sector. Also, we have very good opportunity to join with the other countries to make some investment in Iran about the stone industry, on the machinery sector, stone machinery. Also, we have very good team in Iran that they are working and producing machinery in Iran, that they are supporting the local market for the stone cutting factories. And now about this pandemic COVID-19 situation that we are involved in more than 2 years, we faced a lot of problems and situations that we had never experienced before. After this pandemic virus spread around the world, all the exhibitions were closed and postponed. So we lost all our stone fairs that we scheduled to get visited by visitors of other countries. And that was very important for the stone sector. Because in my opinion, still the best way of marketing in stone industry is to hold exhibition, to show the materials to the customers, and also to hold the B2B meeting between sellers and clients. In a stone industry, you need to touch, you need to see and watch stones to sell or to buy. It's very important. And we lost during 2 years about this pandemic situation. Now about our topics, the exhibition calendar of natural stone industry. I want to ask you some questions. I want to have a I want to ask you to have a vision about this question. How can we schedule the fair? And how can we determine the date? Which date is suitable? And regarding previous calendar, how shall we compare our exhibition date in this critical pandemic situation? I want to mention about some factors about fixing a stone fair date or a fair date. To set the exhibition date, determining these factors are very important. First is about the industry. Our industry is stone industry. It's completely different from the other industries because, you know, we have heavy from the first supply chain. You can see we have from the quarry we have big machinery, heavy equipment. After that, when after the excavating, we have blocks with minimum 18 ton up to 25 ton. Then they must load it and unload it to the factories. So after that, in the factories, we have lots of machinery that are also huge and big. So the stone industry is completely different. And for exhibiting a stone fair, it's very important to know and be aware of the industry. Another factor is the location. The location of the fair is also very important. The geographical zone, in which country, in which city, it's very, very important. That also Mr. Balvinder talked about some reasons about the date fair and the calendar. I want to explain from the another side to see what we must consider the factors. Another note is the climate. Considering in which season of the year the exhibition will be held, weather condition is very important. Because of that, we cannot easily change the dates of the fair. Also, another note, another factor is the other countries' fair date. the logical time distance between the each fair and international fairs, and also the overlaps is very important. And the next factor is about the market. We must first check the target of the fair. If we are looking to exhibit and to do an exhibition as international, it's very important for us which countries will come to our fair, which visitors can come to our fair, and these are very important. And also the market of the place that the exhibition will be held out in as an international fair or as a local fair. It's very important. Also the competitors that Mr. Singh also mentioned about this, that we must think about that in each country we must have one fair, and also this is a note that we must think about. Another important note is about transshipment, where the exhibition must be held on, that the transshipment for the visitors, for the exhibitors, it can be easy and can easy available to reach. The distribution of the industry. For example, in Iran Stone Expo that we held in Iran in Mahallat and Mahallat soon, it's amazing that the 70% of total stone industry in Iran is in a radius of 250 kilometers around Mahallat. It means it's very easy for the exhibitors, for the visitors that they are inside the industry can reach the fair and the exhibition. And finally, the most important factor, I think, is the visitors, the local or the international visitors. Visitors for any exhibition can keep the exhibition alive or kill an exhibition. It's very, very important. So regarding this explanation that I mentioned about, I just want to say, for example, when we start in a year in the world stone industry, in each year we have a calendar like this. For example, in February we had Estona or Stone Month, Jaipur or Bangalore in 1 year. And after that, in March, we have Xiamen Stone Fair and Izmir Marble Fair that, as you remember the previous calendar before the coronavirus situation. In April, we have the Natural Stone Show in United Kingdom and Stone Industry in Russia, also Morocco Stone Fair in Morocco. And in the May, we had covering in USA. In June, we had Stone Tech in Germany, also Victoria Stone Fair in Brazil. In July, we had an exhibition in Iran, IRSE in Tehran, that also is one of the most important fair in Iran. Also in September, we have Middle East Stone in Dubai and Verona in Italy. In October, we had for 13 years Iran Stone Expo in Mahallat. In November, we had Shoito Stone Fair and Bursa Block Fair. So regarding this checking previous calendars, you can see in all the months of the year, we had some fair in all around the world. And now, after this pandemic situation, I think the logical calendar was our previous calendar. And now changing the dates for the fair makes some problems for the fair, because, for example, you must know about some national and some religious events in all the countries. For example, it's very important for us to have Italian companies and visitors, Turkish companies and visitors, Indian companies and visitors, Chinese also from Russia. These are the big sectors of the stone industry in the world. So this is my idea. We cannot easily change the date of the fair. Just maybe on this year that the pandemic situation will over. After that, we can come back to our previous calendar because it has logical time distance between also with considering all situation for all the countries in the world, the important countries for the stone industry, from the market and from the home. I mean the producers, the quarry owners, the stone cutting factory owners, all set their programs with these dates to exhibit in a fair as international or as a local. Maybe we have some new exhibitions regarding the market that you also Mr. Singh mentioned, for example, and a new market, a newborn market we have in Indonesia, in Jakarta. Maybe we have a new fair. These are different from the previous international fairs. Another note I want to mention, it's about the Marvel Izmir Fair that I appreciate İSPAŞ for preparing the infrastructure of the fair, a good fair as international. For 3 years, Iran has the biggest stone international pavilion in the fair, and we hope in August we can participate also as Iran pavilion over there, introduce our material. And I want to say for the first year, we will introduce our potential in machinery, tools, and chemical on stone industry in Marble Fair. Thank you for this time that you give me to talk about the stone industry in Iran and about the calendar. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Halacığım. It was a very analytical presentation. You made an analysis of the fairs and exhibitions around the world, and I think your opinions were very valuable. Firstly, I have been all around Iran. I have been to quarries. Do you think such a fair should be in Isfahan, Tehran, Tabriz, Ahmedabad? Where should it be held?
I want to explain. Right now, we have 3 exhibitions in Iran. One in July is in Tehran, another is in October in Mahallan, and the third one is in Isfahan. That is in November. I want to explain that Tehran exhibition fair mostly focus on the design and architecture, and for the finished material like slab tiles. Our fair, Iran Stone Expo, focus on the block, stone blocks, and for example, previous edition, we have more than 17,000 blocks from 200 quarries from all over Iran. And as you know, Isfahan is one of the biggest stone industrial zone in Iran, that we have more than 3,000 stone cutting factories. They focus on the processing and machinery. We have lots of producer of machinery over there that they are every day they are working on the new machines, working about new technologies about this about stone industry. And recently we received a very good new machines and new processing method. They are working hard on this. So the Isfahan fair focus on the machinery and some chemicals and tools, all the equipments that the stone industry need for the stone processing. We received to this note that Tehran exhibition can work on the architecture and design, because we have very good architecture in Tehran that they are very famous also in the world, and they are working every day on new design. Tehran exhibition focus on the design and architecture, and now we are in Mahallat focusing on the blocks, and Isfahan focusing on the machinery and processing. Now we have 3 exhibitions in Iran that they are very famous. They has more than 10th edition. They passed 10th edition. We are 13th edition. Isfahan is 14, and Tehran is 12 this year.
Thank you very much for the explanation, Mr. Aladjan. That was very clear, because in India, when we look at the line of Turkey, Iran, India, I have been to India as well. I know about the infrastructure, the sources, and my observation is that Turkey is a buyer, an important purchaser from Iran, block purchaser.
Yes, it's correct.
And it's very important for the 3 countries to work together, to cooperate in all fields you mentioned. Mr. Ali Şayakçı, do you have any questions, Mr. Ali Şayakçı?
Thank you very much. Not at the moment, but I would like to thank our Iranian partner for his speech. Faruk Hocam, duyuyor musun? Sesim geliyor mu? Actually, now I can think of a question. Mr. Bolwinder, do you have any question to Mr. Haladjan?
No, Mohammed is a great friend. I can always call him, and in case I have any question. Thank you. He spoke very well.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed.
Thank you very much. I want to mention one note that Mr. Faruk mentioned about that. As you know, Iran and Turkey has very good relationship more than 100 years. And it's especially in the stone sector during these 5 years with Izmir Marble Fair, we received very good cooperation together and some arrangements between Iran and Turkey, and we hope and also be aware of this, that Iran and Turkey can develop their relationship in the stone industry, because we have very old relationship between our countries, between our people, our culture. Also with India is same. We have very good relationship, and that was very special note that Mr. Faruk mentioned. Iran, Turkey, and India we are in a line, and we can work together very well to have very good cooperation together. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Faruk. Thank you, Mr. Bolwinder.
Dear friends, so in August, I think you might register for the international Natural Stone Congress. You can register online, and after the exhibition, there will be trips. Some of the trips will be free of charge, by the way, and we will have a chance to see the factories and quarries. So today, as of today, we have more than 200 registrations for the Congress. So I would like to invite our colleagues in Iran and in India to WSS World Stone Summit. We hope to have great cooperation, a fruitful Congress, and we can overcome many problems, solve our issues together, because in our forthcoming meetings, there are, of course, aspects that threaten the stone sector. When I had been in Algeria, I realized some problems with respect to natural stone, and they are using the names of natural stone for their processed engineered stones. We need to be in touch with architects so we can work together with architects from different parts of the world, and we are holding a congress with them. Our aim is to defend and to regain the wars we're losing against porcelain or other stones. They call them stones. And I think they are threatening, these developments are threatening for the natural stone sector. So the 26th of August, the summit will include these on its agenda. So if you have any points to add, to include in the agenda of the summit, please let us know. We can talk about them, discuss them in the workshop. So can we have them? If you have any suggestions as topics.
Do you have any contributions or comments to make for the agenda of the upcoming fair on 26th of August in Izmir?
Yeah, I want to mention about one cases that can be added about the waste on the quarries and the stone sector. If Mr. Faruk wants to edit this case to the
excuse me, can you repeat your question again? I couldn't hear your question.
I have a suggestion about that to add one more point to the next Congress is about the waste in the quarries and to use the waste as monumental and handcraft. It's very important to use the natural stone. That as you know, when we excavate the stone from the quarries, we have some waste. If we can have some study on this, this is an issue that we can use the waste in the quarries and use as monumental because to reduce our waste and increase our productivity in the quarries and the stone sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Faruk Hoca, do you have any additional comments? I think they lost the line.
Yes, he is disconnected.
I think they are disconnected. So, İbrahim Bey duyuyor musunuz? Faruk Hoca düştü
Mr. Ibrahim, can you hear me? I think
galiba hattan.
there was a connection problem with Mr. Faruk.
Okay, Mr. Faruk Hoca, do you have additional comments? Tamam.
I have listened to Mr. Halajan, and it's indeed very important topic in other countries as well about waste management. Actually, we don't call it wasted. So this is some material that can be utilized, because this can actually cause problems. There are certain studies that are being conducted about this. I will include this in the agenda for the upcoming fair on the 26th. Duly noted. Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Alvinder, can you hear us?
Yes, very much.
Are there any suggestions you would like to make for the agenda of the upcoming fair in Izmir on August
I am
26th?
very happy with this panel discussion which was held. I want to thank ISFAS and the team of Izmir Marble Fair. They have always been great. They do extraordinary work in connecting the world. So I really want to congratulate them. And for the event in August, you can reach out to maximum people and to invite them to come to Izmir. Depending upon the flights situations, a lot of people want to come and they want to travel because we want to get into normal life. So depending upon the travel, policies, we will encourage also my industry people to visit Izmir Fair. Thank you from my side.
Thank you, Mr. Balvinder. In the end, as I have mentioned before about the fair, all the developments, you can follow the developments. As the chairman of the Congress, I will share all the details about the Congress. There are 300 to 400 people are expected to participate, both keynote speakers, 120 people. There are 120 keynote speakers invited. There are architects, there are industrial designers, there are contractors, and also application specialists. So this time we have organized the Congress, the fair difference, all the stakeholders in each of the panel discussions will talk about all the challenges and the problems they are experiencing. And also they will also discuss global trade. So we'll be most happy to see you there among us. So if you have not received the invitations, if you actually register, we will send you your invitations. Are there any questions from? It's 11 past 12, so we will be finishing on time. Are there any questions from the audience or the YouTube channel? So, dear friends, dear colleagues, I'd like to thank you for your participation. At 1700 with Turkish time, the second session will start. Here, our aim was to talk to countries both in East and the West. We have arranged the timing so that the timing is suitable for both countries in the East and the West. So towards the World Stone Summit on 26th of August, we wanted to inform all the stakeholders and the parties. I would like to thank you for both your participation and your contribution. And hopefully in August, we will see each other face to face. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you
Very
all.
much.
Teşekkür ederiz. Thank you
Aynı
very
çatı
much.
altında
Thank you,
buluşmak
thank you,
için
thank you.
ortak bir amacımız var.
You.
Evrenin temelini oluşturan, dünyayı yaşanır kılan doğal taşın binlerce yıllık serüveninin bir parçası olmak. Bizi bir araya getiren doğaya ve doğal taşa olan bağlılığımız. Her biri tıpkı parmak izi gibi benzersiz ve çeşitli. Taşın yaşayan bir ruhu var, yıllara meydan okuyan. Ortak bir bağ ile bağlıyız, birleşiyoruz. World Stone Summit, doğal taşın değerini ve çeşitliliğini anlatmak için dünyayı bir araya getiriyor. Ortak bir hareketle doğal taşın başta mimaride olmak üzere yaşamın her alanında kullanımını arttırmak ve tanıtımını yapmak başlıca görevimiz. Taşa emek verenler, dünya çapında bir farkındalık yaratmak için 26 Ağustos'ta World Stone Summit'te buluşuyor.